Good morning. Going into our first year of high school after 6 months of limited social interactions, many of my class was uninspired by online learning, but there was one teacher in particular who was able to bring us back out of our shells given the little connection we had. During our freshman year, Mr. Mingus stood out to us not just because of the costumes he would wear during Google Meets or the jokes and stories he would tell, but by the genuine effort that he put into making us feel like we were still getting a meaningful high school education. He made a safe space for classmates to form connections when our time together was limited, made learning about historical events enjoyable by acting out trials, pushed us to be present with our face cams, and actively asked for our input, even if we only wanted to lay in bed. Once we returned to school our sophomore year, even for those of us who do not have his class anymore, he made our transition so much easier with a familiar face and someone we could always ask questions to. This connection grew through the rest of our years here, and he made coming to school something to look forward to by helping orchestrate field trips and plays to colleges and ball games and the zoo, sponsoring any proposed club that met the criteria, and playing movies and games in his room during lunch or Fun Friday. Most of my class was lucky enough to have him 2 or 3 years out of the 4 that we were here, across many different subjects. He was able to make 2 history classes, civics and economics, which are some of arguably the most boring classes on paper, into interactive and memorable lessons that foster meaningful conversation and debates. During economics and personal finance this fall, which none of my class was looking forward to taking an extra class, Mr. Mingus set aside so much time to help us with college and career research, preparation, and writing stunning letters of recommendation. And I speak for my whole graduating class by saying that we are beyond thankful for the lasting difference he has made on us, and as a result, we will go on to bless others. I'd like to welcome to the stage our class speaker, Mr. Mingus. Mr. Mingus.
Thank you. Let me begin by thanking the class of 2024 for giving me this remarkable opportunity to speak at one of the defining moments of their lives. I'm uniquely blessed to be present with them at certain unparalleled opportunities such as this, such as their prom, such as an occasional wedding or two, their graduation from college, the birth of a child, and unfortunately, and far too often, funerals. When we choose to become a teacher, or let me change that, when we're chosen to become a teacher, because I think this is a calling, and I think this is a calling from God, that God has placed us in these young people's lives at precisely the right moment for us to be there for them. It's an awesome responsibility, and to be honest, it's not one for the weak of heart. But at the same time, it is a moment of incomparable joy and grace. I've spoken many, many times to our audiences, large and small, but this is for sure the pinnacle of my experience. Thank you, my friends, for allowing me to be present at this moment in your lives. I'm going to try to do this. And I love you. Let me also take this opportunity to stand for those who stand with me on this day. I've been selected to be the speaker, but I represent each and every one of them, the faculty at Stokes Early College and the faculty at Forsyth Tech. Stokes Early College has always drawn the best and the brightest to it, but lately we've kind of upped the ante. The people are not just great teachers and great staff members, they're possessed with a singularity of morality and character and humanity that exists no place else. We've drawn some pretty good teachers from throughout the county, and it's important to know that we didn't recruit them, they chose to come join us. And they did so for a reason, and here today, we celebrate that reason. There's no place in the world like Stokes Early College, and there's no better people than the ones we call our students. I, at this point, would also like to state my unequivocal appreciation for the folks at Forsyth Tech and the remarkable opportunities that they offer our students and the role that this partnership plays in the lives of these young people. They go out of their way to reach for the impossible, to make a college education and college materials accessible to high school students. They do so with intent, they do so with commitment that is in the best spirit of their collective contract with the people of Stokes County. They put the college in early college, and we want to appreciate it. Lastly, I want to thank Stokes County and Stokes County School Board for granting me this unique opportunity to teach at Stokes Early College. As I have often been told, I've looked for other jobs, I've looked at other places, but I can't convince anybody that I want to be anyplace else. And I remember the first day when I interviewed at Stokes Early College, and I thought it was like a great interview and that I was such a bright guy and all that other kind of stuff. And I found out that the only reason why Jimmy Vaya hired me was that I looked like the lead singer in the band America. Well, if getting mistaken for a lead singer in a rock band can get you a job, so be it. I also told them that if I'm going to work there, I form lifetime bonds with my students. I form a different kind of trust relationships with them. And if they're not comfortable with that, then don't hire me. Well, they did hire me. And 20 years later, I'm still at it. So there's that. Last year, with the General Assembly, with their profound foresight and infinite wisdom, put the cherry on the top of this ice cream sundae by allowing me to teach personal financial literacy. Now, this might not sound like much fun, and in fact, it's kind of like fingernails clawing on the blackboard kind of course. But it allows me to work with the seniors and help them get ready for life after our high school in our fumbling towards ecstasy kind of manner. For now, those of you who are not familiar with that term, fumbling towards ecstasy, it's from the poem Dulce et Decorum Est by Wilfred Owen, and it details how soldiers in the trenches of World War I, seeing the oncoming gases, struggle to get their gas masks on just in time. I see this as an apt metaphor for my job in this unique class. In a year, these students will be on the front line in this challenge that we call our lives, and we have a responsibility to get them prepared for that role. That being said, I remember a particularly striking moment in that class that serves to articulate this point very well. One day I was offering my profound wisdom and worldly gained experience to the kids, reflecting on how great high school life is and how one day they'll be looking back on it and reflecting all stuff. And I was going, I wanted them to know that this was important. And if any of you know me, and I'm sure you all do, I talk on in class because I think there's more to class than just the content. There's the moral, and there's the personal, and there's the ethical lessons. So I was scratching my chin and getting all teary-eyed, and I said, this is our last class in high school. This is our last time together. And one of them said, good. I can't wait for it to be over. Well, being the person that I am, I did not set aside my anger. I said, okay, thanks for the kick in the teeth. I'm glad I put all this work into getting you prepared for life. I hope it goes really well for you. And everyone knows this is me. This is something that I'm not proud of. It's a character flaw. I'm working on trying to change it. I'm a teacher, but I'm also a human being, and sometimes not a very good one. However, setting aside my passion, something that I don't know very well, I became mildly more reflective, and I said, in a year from now, you'll be sitting in your class at NC State or wherever, and you'll look back on these days and begin to appreciate them. 10 years from now, you'll see them in a completely different light, and you'll appreciate all the things that early college has done for you. Our graduates are research scientists, doctors, mothers, musicians, filmmakers, zookeepers, craftspersons, technicians, all kinds of successful people. They appreciate what we do for them. Blah, blah, grumpy old man, self-pity routine. They had heard it all before. But later, I started thinking about what she had said. If any students in the history of studentdom have ever had such a challenging high school experience, I don't know who that would be. I know these past 4 years have not been a pleasant ride for any of us, but for these seniors, it's been a kind of a horror show. These kids started their high school, as David pointed out, career living under the madness that we call COVID-19 and the daily news and the visions of a mounting death toll and the struggles of our society to come to grips with the effects of this plague. Schools were closed, then relaunched, then remote instructions, then plans A and B and C, and then A days and B days, and then return to school, then masking, then classroom reorganization, social distancing, quarantine, exclusion, then masking based on an exclusion rate, and so on and so on. And all the while this was going on, the larger world was spinning out of control. George Floyd and the riots, impeachment, mass shootings, elections, post-elections, invasions, vaccine mandates, Gaza, setting aside all the pervasive politics and irrationality that permeated every discussion and every decision around everything that was going on around us, we have to take a deep breath and wonder how it is that any of us made it through this whole mess. It is truly a miracle. We may never know the long-term effects of these years, but we can look at these young people sitting out here, right there, and appreciate that their success is a measure of the remarkable ability of the human soul to overcome any obstacle. However, sometimes it was hard, very hard. One day, one of my students was minding their own business at work, at their job in a restaurant, when a customer lost their temper and threw hot soup in their face. Luckily, they were partially protected and the incident was not as serious as it could have been. But what is the measure of such an experience on such a young person? I have no grasp of such a thing. And although this is an extreme case, my students speak to me every day of the fact that merely coming to school or going to work can be a life-threatening experience. And I know this is true for all of us, but these are young people. These are teenagers. And try as we might, we can't be with them all the time. We can't protect them. All we can do is pursue every option and every ability that we can to prepare them and to fit them for this kind of challenge so that they might not just endure, but overcome. As educators, as parents, as a community, this is our responsibility to them. And sometimes it isn't enough. Over these past 4 years, we've lost a few students. Our classmates, our friends, our family. We lost one such person on the way to South Stokes from early college for a baseball practice. He left school to pursue the things he loved, and he never returned. I remember sitting at his memorial and his coach beginning to sing a song, and then he couldn't continue. And a single solitary voice came out in the audience and picked up where he left off, and then the entire group continued. This is something I'll never forget. And I'll never forget about another student who's no longer with us, nor another student who faced a loss that is unimaginable to me. Their tragedy was unspeakable, and as such, it will remain unspoken. But the tragedy and its lingering effects upon us, one and all, it remains. So yes, I do get that they may be anxious to get out of high school and put it behind them. I'm with them. I too have had my own personal struggles over the past few years. It's not been easy. So let us speak no more of the hardship and tragedy that this class has had to face. Let us speak of their courage, their strength, and their conviction. Let them wear this tassel as a medal of honor. So let us celebrate their victory over all odds. One of the great things of teaching personal finance was that I got to know all the seniors on a personal basis, even more so than usual. A lot of people worry about these kids and even worry more about what happens when they take over the world. I'm not one of those persons. These are good kids. These are smart kids. Most of the seniors have worked most of the time through high school, many of them to support their own family. These are kids that over their high school years, I've seen their hearts, just like the Grinch in the Christmas story, grow 3 times over that short period. I see them pray with and for one another. I've seen them raise money at our school for the family of Callie Fagg, and I also seen them raise money for children from the farthest corners of the world to support them. But mostly, I've seen them come together and believe in one another and support one another through these terrible last 4 years that would have brought many a good person to their knees. They are their own community of support. And that's why Stokes Early College is such a special place, why the teachers are such special teachers, and why the students are such remarkable people, and why the learning that goes on there is so radically different than anywhere else. If you ask the kids, they'll say we're their teachers. But the reality is that we learn so much from them, have learned so much from them over these past 4 years, that the notion of teacher and student is eclipsed by the fact that our mutual engagement with one another is not just at a professional level or even at a personal level. It's at a spiritual level. It is a truly unique learning environment, and in this intellectual and emotional cauldron that we have collectively been through over these past 4 years, we have cast these young people that sit before you. And I use the word cast with all deliberate intention, for we have indeed cast them, molded them, shaped and framed them to be young people of exceptional intelligence, exceptional wisdom, exceptional virtue, and last but not least, persons of responsibility. And we are all the better for it. Today, their high school experience is over, and in my humble opinion, and perhaps others, This is the beginning of the rest of their life. We'll be handing over to them the reins of our society, our nation, and ultimately our future. Some people are worried about that. I'm not. I have absolute and unmitigated confidence in their goodwill, their wisdom, their hearts and souls, and their incredible ability to handle the task before them. They are our children, but one day they will be us. And given all that we have done for them and all that you have done for them, they will be able to do it for themselves and will be, God willing, better than us. At this point, it's expected for me to give you words to live by. And many of those who find me presumptuous of your time say, well, welcome to the world of my students. However, it's expected to me that I give them words. I only have one word. That word is love. It's hopefully your love for me that allowed me to be before you. It's definitely my love for you that put me before you. That's why we as staff and faculty members choose not only to be educators, but educators at Stokes Early College. It's a place where love permeates to the very core of everything that we do. We give our everything so that you can be something. We love you. And what do we expect in return? We expect you to reciprocate our love for you with a return of love for us and for yourselves. We expect you to reciprocate our love for you with the return of love for us by taking what we have taught you and using it to pursue your goals in college or in life with the same zeal and perseverance that you have used to get to this point in high school. We expect you to reciprocate our love for you with the return for us by returning to this community and giving back to this community what it has given to you. Stokes County is invested in you by building and supporting the early college, and you can pay it back for its investment by returning to this community, returning to this county, and giving it back to you. We expect you to reciprocate our love for you with a return of love for all by being successful, happy, self-fulfilled participants in the democratic process and making wise decisions about our political leadership and the future of our country. Lastly, we expect you to reciprocate our love for you with a return of love by having and raising children of your own and instilling in them the same kind of virtues, morality, and wisdom that your parents, your educators, and your community have helped instill in you. I look forward to one day teaching your children, and I swear that I'll love them as much as I love you. That's my promise to you. These are words that I give you. Love, love, love. I can offer you nothing else. I love you. And if you'll humor me for a few more seconds, let me wrap up this soliloquy with a few words of prose about love from one of my favorite books. Though I speak with the tongues of men and angels, but have not love, I have become sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have faith so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but have not love, it profits me nothing. Love suffers long and is kind, but love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. It's not puffed up. It does not behave rudely. It does not seek its own and is not provoked. It thinks no evil. It does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. But when there are prophecies, they will fail. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. Whether there is knowledge, it will vanish away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part, but when that which is perfect has come, then that which is in part will be done away. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a person, I put away such childish things. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know just as I am also known. And now abide in faith, hope, love. These three, but the greatest of these is love. God bless you, and thank you for letting us be a part of your lives. I love you.
And we love you.